Starmon Adventures.
For 9 long years, at Alphys region, Sun's higher town became a peaceful bustling town, as more Starmons came to stay in the town while some came from far away places as they took the train from Starway Railway made by optimistic Skarloey and hard-working Ramnees. At the marketplace, new Starmons living in Sun's higher town are selling fruits, vegetables, flowers, and many more. At the Sun's higher library, the Starmons are interested in books about human cultures and traditions based on Dr. Lizzie's experiences from the human world. Dr. Lizzie is now a 42-year-old fine lady even though she feels like an old lady. Unfortunately, Starmons don't age like a human being as they are created that way. At the treehouse, Felicia becomes an 11-year-old girl and is hanging out with Nuded and the others suddenly. Dr. Lizzie called her for lunchtime, so she left while Nuded and his friends continued their fun elsewhere. At the Sun's higher forest, Nuded, Torto, and Pensplash were separated from the others because of Nuded's carelessness from directions. Meanwhile, Melanie was crossed by Nuded's carelessness, but as long as Torto and Pensplash were with him it's fine. Flutterfly was worried that something bad might happen to them, so Blowangia and Stinger went to find them while the others followed behind. In the furthest part of the forest, Nuded saw a man-made structure up ahead and was curious to check it out until Torto stopped him by a second. Pensplash arrived exhausted from running until saw the structure and told Torto of what Nuded spotted a while ago. As they walked closer, it was a portal similar to what Dr. Lizzie told them about. Torto and Pensplash were concerned that there's something that Dr. Lizzie told them, but suddenly, Nuded somehow pulled the switch and activated the portal, but as Nuded was about to pull the lever, he somehow sensed something bad coming to Sun's higher town. They don't know if it is a hunch or a hoax, so they ran back to town and rushed past Melanie and the others. Back at Sun's higher town, the Starmons are in a state of panic and evacuated from danger as 2 invaders are wreak havoc the entire town and defeated Skarloey and Ramnees. Gem and Miney and Wimpet are struggling against those invaders and immediately defeated. The newcomers Trasho, Capricorn, Packrat, Taurus, and Yeti Crab, Cancer, are taking the stand against the invaders to protect Sun's higher town, as most of the first-generation Starmons were defeated except Mary. The invaders are searching for Dr. Lizzie and Felicia, then Mary slowly realized that they're one of the Ophiuchus Starmons from Officina. As Nuded and the others arrived, all their friends were defeated by 2 Ophiuchus Starmons, while Mary is the only still standing along with one of their new friends, Yeti Crab and Trasho. When they resumed seeking Dr. Lizzie and Felicia, but then, one of the friends, Fillercur, Sagittarius, regained her strength and burned their mantles with her fire arrow. As their mantles burnt off, revealed Oriki and his companion Scareripper, Ophiuchus. They came to warn them that the Ophiuchus will get their revenge against them and resume to kill the humans who set up Officina's betrayal. They know it was their misjudgment from the incident of Felicia's parents' death. Felicia didn't like to see her friends suffer for her and Dr. Lizzie's sake, so exposed herself to Oriki and Scareripper even though Dr. Lizzie tried to stop her. As they're about to kill Felicia and Dr. Lizzie, they are suddenly stopped by Nuded revealing his main but secret ability called Rubbery Body. They were all shocked that both of Nuded's arms suddenly stretched to stop Oriki and Scareripper from killing Felicia and Dr. Lizzie. Secretly, a few years after her parents' death, Nuded trained himself hidden away from distraction from his friends, and that's where found out his ability. All of his friends were surprised that he was secretly training himself in case the Ophiuchus Starmons came back, and it already happened. Nuded is waiting for his vengeance for the death of Felicia's parents. His friends also wanted to have their revenge, but they slowly realized that vengeance won't be a good idea. Nuded carelessly fought Oriki and Scareripper all by himself and battled them triumphantly. Oriki and Scareripper can't hold back anymore as their star marks glue and unleash the warp evolution to evolve to their next form. Oriki evolved to Orovenom and Scareripper evolved to Fearripper. Everyone was amazed that none of them had ever seen them evolve before, and Nuded was surprised, and yet, he still had a score to settle. Noted used Gatling punch against Orovenom and Fear Ripper, but they dodged his attack as they are now faster than him. Fear Ripper used Shadow Claw and Smite Noted towards Orovenom, while Orovenom used Dakuriuken, Poison Dragon Fist, at him, and Noted crashed into a house and fell apart with a bang, a crash, and a terrible smash. His friends were shocked how strong they are now, and so they tried to fight them on their own, but it was no use as Orovenom and Fear Ripper are too strong for them to beat. As they are exhausted from defeat, Orovenom grabs Felicia with his scarf and slowly squeezes her, but as Dr. Lizzie tries to intervene, Fear Ripper grabs her and lets her see Felicia slowly dying. At the rubble, Noted heard the painful cries from Felicia and aggressively had enough hearing any of his friends suffer, then his star mark starting to glow from the rubble. Everyone was gazing at the rubbled house, and suddenly the glow got brighter and the debris blew up into pieces and revealed that Noted just warp evolved into Acornid. Everybody was surprised seeing Noted evolve for the very first time, and even Acornid was surprised himself that he can also do warp evolution like Orovenom and Fear Ripper. From that distraction, Orovenom came for a strike on him. Felicia warned Acornid, but it was too late, or so she thought. Acornid's left arm suddenly turned to black and hardened like iron steel. As he tried to hit on the head, it became hardened as well. Acornid gained another ability called Body Armament. Like wearing an invisible armor, Acornid gained the upper hand and rescued Felicia from his clutches. Far from Orovenom's clutches, Fear Ripper is going to kill Dr. Lizzie, but Acornid was far from his position, then suddenly stopped him at breakneck speed. Acornid suddenly gained another ability called Gear V2, Speed. Dr. Lizzie was amazed that Acornid gained two or more abilities all at once. Both Orovenom and Fear Ripper were speechless from their fight against Noted that evolves to Acornid and gained two new abilities all at the same time. Suddenly, Acornid grabbed them both and spun them into the air and smacked them down to the ground like flailing a maze to the ground. As the smoke cleared, they changed back to Oriki and Scare Ripper. They were dazed and considered Acornid lucky for defeating them from getting too cocky. Both Oriki and Scare Ripper escaped and planned for their return someday. The next day, all the Starmons are repairing the damages from Oriki and Scare Ripper's invasion, while Skarloey and the others are still under medication by their medical friends, Lil Nurse, Virgo, and Kiddick, Aries. All the Starmons are amazed that they had no idea that they can do warp evolution, but they don't know how, so they ask Noted how he evolved to Acornid, but even he has no idea except only that he knows that his star mark glows, nothing else. Torto is starting to get jealous that he's the only one who can evolve so far. Not only Torto but also all his friends were envious that they could evolve to beat them, but they won't let it get in their heads, so they focused on cleaning the damage. Dr. Lizzie was amazed but at the same time confused that Starmons can evolve by their own will. It was a mysterious phenomenon from her understanding. As she was about to ask Noted until Felicia came by to say thank you for saving their lives, Noted didn't mind the heroism, he only did it to protect his valuable friends. Then, Noted forgot to tell, but he needed to tell Dr. Lizzie first. Talks about the portal they just found, but seems that she was busy helping clean the wreckage, so he is just going to tell her later tonight. That night, in Dr. Lizzie's house, all Noted's friends are having a meeting with Dr. Lizzie and Felicia. Noted, Torto, and Pensplash told them they found a portal in Sun's higher forest. Melanie and the others were surprised while Dr. Lizzie was shocked. They rushed to Sun's higher forest to check if it is true or not, but it's true. Dr. Lizzie was still shocked and confused that the portal where she came from was destroyed and yet another portal appeared. Then, Flutterfly saw a letter taped at the lever switch and gave it to Dr. Lizzie. She gasped that the letter came from Dr. Philip before he died. The letter said, "If you ever read this letter, I'm truly sorry for not telling my wife or to you, Dr. Lizzie. I secretly reconstructed the portal from the files we took before the lab exploded. I tested this portal and it was successful, as this portal teleports back to the human world where we truly belong. We had a lot of fun with the Starmon friends, but sometimes, we need to get to our real home for my daughter Felicia to learn our culture more. Sincerely your friend, Philip." Felicia was speechless from what her father said. Dr. Lizzie was glad that they could get back home after 17 years staying in Starmon's world. Felicia was sad to go as Nuded and his friends are part of her family. They're also sad to see them leave, but it is for the best that Felicia will have a brighter future in her home world. As Scarlowe pull the lever and activate the portal, it is ready for them to leave. Before that, Dr. Lizzie wants to rid the files so it won't fall in the wrong hands, so she will end her traumatic moments from losing her boyfriend Dr. Jimmy from the lab explosion as he sacrifices his life to let them escape, and loses Felicia's parents from the Ophiuchus Starmon's attack. So Torto and Scorchump, Libra, burned all the files to end everything they created and to end Felicia's parents' misery for good. And as they're about to leave, Felicia hugged them for one last time, and Dr. Lizzie waved goodbye to Nuded and his friends as their thanks for caring for them for a long time. Before they get through the portal, Dr. Lizzie told them to turn off the portal and never be used again. They went to the portal and returned to the human world. Lechump, Aries, turned off the portal as they will never see them again for a very long time. At the human world, Dr. Lizzie and Felicia will find a new home to start a new life like humans do. In Dr. Zero's secret laboratory, he's still working on his version of the portal for all those harsh years after the explosion since 17 years ago, but then, he had finally done it, but the question is, will it work or not? As he tried to turn it on, one of his stealth spectator drones spotted Dr. Lizzie and Felicia at the Sun's Higher Park, coincidentally have the same name. Dr. Zero didn't recognize Felicia until he was familiar that she got the eyes from Sylvia and Philip's orange-colored hair. Dr. Zero ordered his drones to capture them so he can forcefully ask Dr. Lizzie about the files of the portal. As they are almost out of the park, Dr. Lizzie wants to tell Felicia that she has to call her just Lizzie, as she has enough called Dr. Lizzie all the time, as she is now Felicia's stepmother. Then there was trouble. Several drones surrounded them and they had no idea what was going on until one of the drone's screens revealed to be Dr. Zero is waiting for his 17 years of vengeance.